Rob, internationals are all but finished. We don't have our Scotland boys back, but heading into Gloucester, what's the picture looking like in camp?
Interesting. I don't mind saying it, and as I just said there on some other media, that the only way, if I'm honest with you, I'm going to know whether we've got it right is if in 2 weeks' time we are through to the next round of the Heineken Cup and we're still where we want to be in the Premiership, because that's the challenge over the next 2 weeks, is getting the reintegration of international players back, looking after guys who played a lot of game time, and looking after a number of guys who, as people have seen in our mountain injury list, have got bumps and bruises. So getting that right over the next 2 weeks is going to be important, because if we get it right over the next 2 weeks, then we've got a third week in the European quarter-final, which again is going to be a huge game, and then we roll into 2 massive Premiership games. So it's an interesting time of the season. One that's very exciting from a management point of view, one that's very exciting from a playing point of view, but there's going to be opportunities for players in the next couple of weeks to do special things, and it's just going to be interesting which guys take it.
Any season you say it's a squad effort, but this season in particular, with so many people away on international breaks, it is going to be a squad effort, and this is the period now where you'll start to see it, I'd imagine.
Well, if we get it right, if we get it right and the squad get it right and the players take their opportunities, it's the time you can thrive, or it's the time you can kind of falter. And we've got to decide we're going to thrive, and we're going to push on, and we're going to improve through this period and become a stronger side through it. It's great to know the international lads are pretty much back in camp now. We've obviously got to wait for Hoggy and Sam Skinner. Obviously, Johnny Gray's on his way back now because he's got a little bit of a sore shoulder, but it doesn't look too concerning for next week. And so hopefully, by next Monday we'll have them fully reintegrated and ready to go for what's going to be a quite exciting end to the season. 8 rounds of the Premiership left before we get to knockouts, and hopefully we'll get there. And every round of Europe is a knockout. So it's quite an exciting time to be a player, and an exciting time to get it right.
Gloucester Friday night, it won't be the normal King's Home, the raucous atmosphere, stuff that we're very akin to. What are you expecting from them, and what are you expecting going there?
Yeah, I'd say going to Gloucester was one of my favourite trips, because it's always been a challenge there, and they've beaten us and we've beaten them, and they've been good games, tight contests. But I do really enjoy the crowd. It's funny because once you do the same job for a few years, I bump into literally the same Gloucester supporters as I walk up the grandstand to the coaching position, and everyone will, shake my hand and say, "Hi, Rob," and have a brief chat about rugby. And then they give you a stick then for the next 2 hours, and then they do it all again as you leave. It's a really nice experience, one I really enjoy, and that will certainly be missed. And it's probably one of the biggest shames in sport is that we're not getting those atmospheres, especially these really, really good grounds. So it will be different, to play there when it's quiet, but everyone's kind of used to it now, and it's going to be it's like anything. It's a real focus on the performance on the field. That's all you can do. We've got to produce something that gives us what we want out of the game, and what we want out of the game is to maintain our push for the top 2. And certainly we want to be able to fight for the top 4 without doubt. And we also want to be able to go into the next game against Lyon ready to play our biggest game of the season. It's going to be some challenge over the next 10 days.
The league will say there's a big gulf between you and Gloucester at the moment, but Christmas game told us there isn't a lot between you.
Exactly. People always, if someone says to me, what was your easiest Premiership game this year, I wouldn't be able to think of one. I genuinely wouldn't, because we've been challenged in every game. We felt every team have flown at us, no matter what team they've picked. They've come at us. They've had, in a lot of ways, very little to lose, and that's really given them something extra to fight for, made it very difficult to keep at arm's length. We've managed to do it on the whole. We've managed to win more games than we've lost, and we've managed to collect a decent amount of points, and we've managed to show some really good qualities. And that's probably the foundation that makes me the most pleased. If anything, I'm probably more pleased with just our basic foundations of what we are as a team now than ever before. And actually, we've been in this position in the league and been a little bit more comfortable than we are now before. But I think we've probably been challenged this season more than ever, and we're standing up to it.
You would have reflected on last week's latest victory. It was harder than you thought in the end.
Well, yes and no. If someone said to me before the game, would I have taken the 5-point win? 100%, I'd have taken it. If someone had said you score 47 points, would you take it? Yes. If someone said, will you concede 31? I'm still taking it if they say we're going to score 47. Do you know what I mean? So that's saying that is it sounds a bit weird now in hindsight. Obviously, Leicester going under 14 men and they're still conceding 31 points. Has got some concerns, but at the same time, I've played in teams where that's happened, and I've coached us a few times now where it's happened either to us or against us. And actually, the psychological shift is very interesting in sport.
Galvanises a team.
It galvanises them. It makes them very single-minded. They had 8 forwards on the pitch, and it was the back they lost. So it galvanises you into, we've got to try and create 5-metre opportunities for this pack. That's the single most important thing for us. That's what's going to give us an opportunity to score points. It probably made them galvanise very early on that their best way of getting anything out of the game is to score 4 tries. So they went purely for tries. And for us, it probably meant when we got to 28 points and we had our 4 tries, that the temptation to, however you want to look at it, it's going to be okay to give up the odd metre here and the odd metre there. And the trouble is, every time you give up a metre, you can give up a try in the Premiership. That's how it can work. You've got to fight beyond that level. And so I actually said to the lads afterwards, I'm not going to overanalyse the points we've conceded because I understand the psychological shifts that happen in the game. But what I am going to say is now, we've dealt with it, we've come through with 5 points, now we move on. And I just think on the day that was the best way of dealing with it because it was a challenge for us and it was a challenge for Leicester, and we both got something out of it.
People being away is, like I say, giving people an opportunity, and some of the youngsters are really stepping up. Street, Capstick, Lonsdale, even Dan John coming in for his debut last week. How pleased are you seeing that next element of players coming through and proving that they can adapt to the rigours of the Premiership?
I'm obviously massively pleased. I mean, the big thing for me, if I'm honest with you, is that probably the work the senior players are doing is giving them a chance to come in and experience playing at a decent level and winning. And I think that's probably very important for them because, for Dan John, it was only a cameo appearance towards the end of the game, but he's come on and experienced Premiership rugby beating Leicester Tigers, and that's quite a big thing. It took us.
Some players don't do that.
Exactly, some players never do it. It took us quite a while to do it in the Premiership. It's quite a big thing. And so, yes, I'm pleased with those young players and how they're training, their approach to it. But I'm almost more pleased with the opportunities the senior players are given for them to come into such a good environment and to help them be part of some really kind of vibrant opportunities, not just kind of make do and make fill. They come in and we want them to contribute. And as you say, Dan did that. He came on, and the first thing he did, he's banging in some tackles. As you say, Streety comes in, winning scrum penalties. Looks like he's improving every week. You've seen how Jack Inhode's come in his last 3 weeks and how he's performed. It's happened across the back line. In fact, Facundo's come in and, once he gets fit, he'll be a real threat, because he's a threat at the moment and he still doesn't look particularly match fit to me. So we've got some exciting things going on, and then you have Josh Hodges and Harvey Skinners and these guys into the mix, and it looks very exciting, doesn't it?
And in particular, Sean Lonsdale, someone who was a relative unknown when he arrived here, but over the last 3-4 years, he's really come through, hasn't he? And he's a silent assassin, I think Rob Hunter calls him.
He quietly gets on with his business, and as you've seen, he's quietly become quite a fundamental, important part of the jigsaw here in the squad. Because yes, we've got some international quality locks, and yes, we've got some international back row. But then when you look at the amount of big games and important games, Sean's come in and done a really good job for us. It's fantastic, and I think we understand his importance, and I think that's the important thing is we know he does a really important job for us. That's very much appreciated. And again, he's gone into a game against Leicester Tigers, who whatever he says, their back forwards was very strong at the weekend. And he's scored a very good line-out for us, and we've got a decent set piece, and he's caught restarts, and he's carried well for us. You couldn't really have asked for a much better game from him.